Hi everybody, this is Jeff from Ohio, Zone 6A. Como está? Bonjour for people in France. I'm going to talk a little bit about our irrigation system. We finally got it set up. As you might have saw from the previous videos, we had it working, but I got the second tank in. So I want to explain a little bit about what we did with our water tanks. As you saw before, we're catching water off the roof. Primarily fills up this bucket, and people might notice that I have two connections between the buckets, one up there and one down here. So most people see something like a hose or a connection that goes from the bottom of one to the other, but what we did is, as this one fills up, the one at the top works like the overflow and then starts to fill this one up. And then the connection down here at the bottom has a one-way check valve in it, so the water will flow from here to here as the pressure builds and the water the water starts to equalize. So we did this so that we can keep, so we got about 3 feet here, that's another 1.5 psi, so that we can keep the maximum pressure on the lines that's possible, instead of just trying to equalize it from the bottom. So we gain another 1.5 psi by doing it this way. And people heard me talk about math and science and engineering, and for all the engineers, yeah, I know that's not exactly the calculation, but I'm just being approximate. 1.5 psi extra that gets us. So this valve is always open, and then we have our timer up here. This has been on and running. Right now it's set to run for 1 minute every 12 hours, and we'll come back and change that as we start to get things growing. So from here through the line, we try to maintain a downward slope as best as possible, down through here, and then to get from the barn over to the garden, we took a cable with a PVC pipe, tied the cable off from here to the barn, and we suspend and support our PVC pipe, and then our irrigation distribution line rests inside of that. That way we still get a little bit of downward slope coming through here, and again a little bit more of a downward slope to here, and then into our main distribution line. And from here, as you've seen in the other videos, the water drips out of these lines. We'll be finishing up a couple things later today. One will be connecting the other end of the line to the secondary distribution line down at the end. That will give us a closed system, so we don't get the leakage and pressure if we were to just run irrigation line off of that. So for all the engineers out there, you'll probably say, oh, that's a good idea. So that's why we're doing it. And we're trying to utilize everything that we can. So this is set up, and I expect it to probably always be this way for corn, beans, and then squash on the outside. So what you'll see here is we're utilizing our cable that we tied off over to this stake, and over here now this becomes one of our lower lines for trellis. We haven't really put the trellis in here yet. We'll do this, in several weeks, coming up. We don't need a trellis in at the moment. So the green beans in this area will trellis off the corn. So that's where we're at. Unfortunately, I don't have any water in there because I just reconnected those today and all the water's drained out, but we should have rain in the next couple of days. So I'll come back and I'll take a video with this whole thing working and the water dripping out of the drip tape in there, and it'll all be completely set up by then too. So a couple days we'll come back to it, but you have seen the water drip out of the drip lines already. We just added the second tank in, cleaned up a few things here. So that's it for the day.
Subscribe and like.
Subscribe and like, yeah. This is for all of our friends and families that are far away that like to see what we're doing. So, bonjour to the people in France. Comment vas-tu? So we'll see you guys later. Bye.